The ninth Faversham Fringe, which has the reputation of being the friendliest fringe, kicked off on the 3rd and will run until the 26th of October. During this time, Faversham will have the opportunity to see some extraordinary shows performed by very talented people, and I'm taking advantage of this to catch up with some of them. Today I'm talking to Arthur Smith, one half of the legendary double act Fiasco Job Job, who, with Phil Nice, will be performing their sit-down play Oof at 8:30 on Sunday the 12th of October in our very own Arden Theatre. Hi Arthur, thanks for joining me.
Hello Wendy, I'm honoured to be here.
What inspired you to create Oof? And does it differ from your previous stuff?
Well, what inspired us, because we were a very successful double act in the 80s, 90s, and we had a TV show and everything, and that. But then we didn't see each other for a fair few years, and then we met up again, and we thought it would be lovely to recover and remember and the laughter and produce a bit more. So, and it was great to be working together again after all these years.
So a reunion of minds and talent and friends.
Yeah, we are friends. Although we have a bit in the show where it all breaks down a bit, but we've never not really been friends. Although, like I say, there was a period when I went off and did loads of stuff, and he had to stay home and look after lots of kids and things, and so things changed. But it feels a bit, this show, like it's a bit like Waiting for Godot meets stand-up comedy.
Okay, right. That's why you've called it sit-down play.
Yeah,
perhaps.
but it is a bit of play, but it is quite a lot of comedy within that, and quite a few gags, many of whom go back many years. And we reprise some of the things we used to do in the early days of our live performances, like we teach the audience French and yeah, and we look at the belly button, Phil's belly button, to see the fluff he's accumulated over the years. I mean, it has a surreal element to it, no doubt.
Good. I'm very pleased to hear it. Otherwise, if it was just Waiting for Godot with comedy. So, in a few words, I know you've already started, and avoiding the real spoilers, what journey is Oof all about? Where is your audience going to start and where's it going to end?
Well, it's two old men meet on a bench. And initially, one of them's annoyed that the other one's sat on the bench, because you want to have the bench to yourself. But then we get talking, and there's quite a lot of stuff about the ridiculous nature of getting older. And then after we suddenly remember that we sort of know each other. And then we remember, oh yeah, we were in a double act together, weren't we? And then we go from there, really. And that's sort of the end of Act 1, as it were. And there's 3 acts, so there's some development following that, and some ridiculous stuff, and a little bit of audience participation. And of course, there'll be a couple of jokes about Faversham and what a great place it is. So much better than Sittingbourne.
Oh, yes, that's a contentious subject, but and I daren't agree with you.
I hope that people from Sittingbourne, if they come, don't storm the stage, because I know what they're like over there.
Are you local, Arthur?
No, I live in South London, in Balham, where I am the mayor of Balham.
Is there a mayor of Balham?
I'm self-proclaimed mayor of Balham.
Ah, self-proclaimed.
I'm night mayor, I don't do days. It is a bit of a local joke that everyone in Balham knows. In case you didn't know, Balham is in South London, between Clapham, which we pretend to dislike, and Booting, which we love.
Right. Okay.
Faversham is a lovely place, and I've done a bit of rambling around that way over the years, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again.
And I think Faversham's looking forward to seeing you too. And you said you think the play will resonate with Faversham audiences, especially perhaps the older people who've sat on benches with people and not recognised them for 20 minutes and then realised they were married to them once, maybe. So hopefully your audience is going to laugh. But are you going to pull other emotions from them?
Oh yes, because there's a big outbreak, and then we sort of have a big fight, and then we slowly come back together. And I think for a lot of people that will resonate because look, you meet someone in your life early on, and then you're friends, and then for various reasons, whatever reason, you don't see them again for years, and it's always a fascinating thing to sit down with someone who you knew well, but they've been living another life for 30 years or something since you last saw them, and what might result out of that. And remembering things and then imagining what the future might be, which is not always good, and inevitably will end in death, but also can be full of joy and pleasure too.
So perhaps people will have moments of reflection of their own lives and friendships and contacts.
Yes, and I'm hoping that maybe, because part of the idea is that we've been meaning to get in touch, but we never quite got round to it. So I think it would be nice if people left the room with having had a lot of laughs and some tender, quiet, less happy moments. But I think maybe it'd be nice if they thought, oh, I know. Do you remember, what was his name or her name? It'd be good to see them again, isn't it? I wonder whatever happened to them, which is a question which is in all our minds, especially as we grow older.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really nice thought. So moving away from the show that you're going to bring to Faversham, after your decades of TV and stage and the comedy circuit experience, performing must still be pretty scary at times. Do you have any memorable, nerve-wracking moments you'd like to share with us?
Oh, nerve-wracking, mate. Well, I can think of some moments that were quite scary while I was on stage. Normally, you have to just focus before you go on stage, and I sort of roll my eyes around, and that can be quite scary. But then, yes, there can be some scary moments on stage. I remember when I was doing a show, a man came up and poured a pint of his own urine over me, which was
My God.
yeah, well, I mean, I think he was pretty drunk, and he subsequently told me that he'd done it because as a sort of compliment. It was a way of saying, "I think you're great. I'm just going to pour. I've pissed into the sorry, weed into this pint glass. I apologise to people in Faversham for using that word. Anyway, I've weed into this pint glass, and I'm now going to pour it over you to show you how much I think you're great." So, yeah, there was another time someone threw a glass. I mean, that's the nature of the job. That especially if you're doing very late night shows. I don't do those so much now, but because the audience is inevitably going to be mostly drunk, and then sometimes they can be quite aggressive. Or I remember one time though, there was a bunch of blokes there all heckling all night, and I was emceeing, and right at the end, I started singing that song. Do you remember it? The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Oh, yes.
I said, well, look, you've been annoying us. Why don't you come up and do something? So I started doing that. And sure enough, all these blokes piled onto the stage. I go, whim away, whim away. And then one of them stepped forward and started singing it in the jungle. But he was saying it brilliantly, and they were all doing it. And it turned out they were a male voice choir. We'd gone out to a comedy club one night and got drunk, and it sang "Whim Away." Just the audience went crazy for it. It was just an amazing moment.
Yeah, a really special and completely unrepeatable moment.
Yes.
Fantastic.
There was a kind of spontaneity about it. Well, that's the great thing about comedy, and we've got that in our show a bit. There's some spontaneity to be had. We've got some improvised little bits, and we get the audience involved in a little bit of that sort of thing. And may I say, before we go, We did get loads of good reviews and 4 stars in the Times, and so I thoroughly recommend people to come to Faversham.
Brilliant.
Well, or stay in Faversham and come to.
Before we go, I want to know, why have you called the show Oof? And why were you once called Fiasco Job Job? I just need to know. I can't leave this without knowing those two things.
I'm not entirely sure I know the answer to either of those.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
But Oof, that was Phil's idea. That was partly the noise that you make when you bend over, when you get older, and really, and also just a sort of silly word. That's why it's called Oof, I suppose. And what was the other question?
Well, the name of your double act.
Oh, yeah,
Fiasco Job Job.
Yeah, well, I agree. It's a ridiculous name, but that's why we chose it. Job Job. It was 2 people, and I've just always loved the word fiasco. And so, I mean, it was a bit of a surreal choice. Again, a bit like Oof. It wasn't a thing that describes the play or the show, but, well, it does in a way, as you'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Arthur, thank you so much. So, if you go to a fringe show for a riotous evening of comedy, then get your tickets for Oof at 8:30 on Sunday, the 12th of October at the Arden Theatre, online at faversham.fringe.co.uk/what's-on, and ensure you and your friends catch Arthur and Phil's yet another riotous final reunion. Thanks, Arthur, for talking to Radio Faversham and the people of Faversham today.
Well, thank you, and I hope you have a fabulous day in Faversham, and if it rains, you remember your umbrella.
Thanks, Arthur.